Before we get started, you're going to need to purchase 2 different kinds of hardware kits. The first set of hardware you need to buy is called the drum brake hardware kit. This kit comes with basically all the springs and the pins. So this one is going to have the short and the long pins in it. And it's going to have the short and the long return spring, and it's going to have the bottom spring that goes right above the star wheel, plus the springs for the retaining pins. The self-adjusting brake kit, that's the one that's going to come with the lever, and it's going to come with the star wheel adjuster. There is a left and right for this kit, and they are clearly marked with an L or an R on which one's which. The star wheels are also left and right as well. One is reverse thread and one is normal threaded. So if you're just doing the rear brakes, you need to get a set for the rear. And the same thing goes with the front brakes. So you're going to need a total of 4 kits if you're going to do the whole car. I'll also do my best during this video to call out which kit has what parts in it. Make sure that the kit you're ordering is for 11-inch brakes, because that's what comes with a TriFive Chevy. What I did was I looked up a 1966 Chevy Belair because it has 11-inch drum brakes and the kit will work perfectly. Remove all hardware and clean up the backing plate. Apply grease to the star wheel and screw it down all the way. I used white lithium grease because that's what my shop teacher always told me to use. For the driver's side, we need to mock up where the star wheel is going to fit. You can skip this step on the passenger side. Install both shoes with the retaining pins to get the star wheel in place. The star wheel is going to face the rear of the car on both sides, but the driver's side has the adjusting hole in the front of the backing plate. So we will need to drill a new hole for the star adjuster. For the mock-up, you don't need to install the return springs, just make sure the shoes are in the correct spot. Mark where the new hole should be. With the star wheel adjuster turned all the way in, mark where the star wheel adjuster is, and the hole will need to be wide enough when the adjuster opens up. Then I use the adjuster plug that came with the kit to make my outline of where I need to make the hole. Now it's time to drill. I just drilled a few small holes right next to each other. Then I used a larger bit and reamed out the hole to match the size of the old hole. Now we're ready to install the brakes. On the rear brakes, install the e-brake lever on the rear shoe. Skip this part on the front brakes. Make sure you have the star wheel facing the rear and you are using the correct lower spring. It will have a longer straight part above the adjuster star, and it's usually green. Next, you'll need to drill a 3/8-inch hole in the rear shoe. This hole is needed for the adjuster lever. You can drill this hole while the shoes are on the car or before you start assembly. Once the hole is drilled, make sure the pivot bushing fits in the new hole nice and snug. Now we can install the self-adjusting lever. Make sure the lever upper pivot clip is installed first. Slide the 2-inch pin from the rear of the backing plate, align the lever, and install the spring. There's a special tool for this, but you can use pliers. Then install the small return spring on the bottom of the lever. Check for freedom of movement in the pivot point. Install the guide at the top of the anchor bolt. If it's too fat for the springs, there's a thinner one that you can buy for a 63 and newer car. Or you can just grind yours thinner. I didn't have any problems with my guides, so I went ahead and reused them. Install the long bar, the actuating link, that comes with the self-adjusting kit. One side clips to the top of the lever, and the other side attaches to the anchor bolt at the top. On the rear brakes, install the e-brake strut bar and spring. Install the forward return spring. Install the forward pin. Install the rear return spring. This spring is smaller than the front spring, and it's in the hardware kit. The override spring for the lever is in the self-adjusting repair kit. You can install this spring on the car, or you can install it on the bench. Both techniques were troublesome for me. The self-adjusting kit is now installed. The final step is to adjust your brakes before you put the drum back on. Turn the star wheel out and then place the drum on the brakes. Turn it back and forth, and if you don't hear any scraping of the brakes, repeat that process over and over.
Super loose still. I'm glad I'm doing this now. Oh, there we go. It's a little bit.
You'll eventually get to the point where you feel the brakes start to drag a little bit, and that's where you stop.
There, because you want to be able to bleed the brakes too. If they're never adjusted right, it's really hard to bleed the brakes. There we go. That's pretty good. There we go, look at that. The drum's back on there the way it's supposed to be and everything. Look at all that. Bam.
For this and other GM content, don't forget to smash that subscribe button.